Okay, I did watch this once, but I'm glad. I'm going to try to do my best to integrate what material I've learned from the other side of the SCP Foundation over here, or behind the Gorilla Glass on this side. The Zookeeper, but also Bell's Equality to AR 600-20, and a grooming policy of it, which is this specific boot camp, which makes this a collider. We just don't know the quantum timescales on the Lorenzos yet. But what's real cool about this is both I'm a sensor and he is a sensor, even if I'm the particle in the Andromeda paradox here. Big galaxy, another galaxy, I'm going to put you there for calculus, whoever you are. Could be him later after the review because superposition works that way. So just.
Good morning, Sergeant Major, members of the board. I'm First Sergeant Harold William Stoker. I was born April 3rd, 1976 in Roswell, New Mexico, and no, I'm not an alien. In 1995, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, earning the MOS 8554 Close Quarters Battle Team Leader, and I deployed with the 1st Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team Company. In 2003, I was honorably discharged and moved with my family to Millbrook, Alabama. In 2010, I enlisted in the United States Army, earned the MOS 25 Quebec. My duty stations include Hawaii, Kuwait, Fort Hood, and Joint Base Lewis McChord, where I currently serve as Spartan 7 for Bravo Company, 51st Expeditionary Signal Battalion, the finest company in these United States Army. My short-term goals include serving as a battalion command sergeant major. My long-term goals include retiring, picking up 40 acres, and getting off
between the two.
Wilderness and land
if you've been
navigation
trained to do it, that's what you have to do.
I've been married to my wife Tanya for
It's all great context and gravity
we have 3
by
amazing children
certain
together.
things that
Right,
might
team,
yield
your
to
bio
objectives later.
is a piece of the 2-minute
Pause
drill
it here, Stroker.
that if you
Love
get
your work,
down
First Sergeant.
90% right.
All right, so again, I don't want to be compromised by what I watched here, but I was integrating some math aspects from a Mason society of doing it. I mean, obviously, there's the Marines, there's the Air Force, there's the Army. Well, there's the Army, let me do that first here. Marines, Air Force, Navy, National Guard, so on and so forth inside here, all which have certain laws, and this can be used against you in certain ways if you're keyed off on wrong indexes about why the rules are what they are specifically. This would be in quantifiable superposition to a smoking pit because I've deemed it to be so. Not always right, certainly has some criteria, but we gotta factor some super long game stuff at the Masons level. That is the sensor of somebody in there given this collision about the muons and things. He'll get into one about confidence, and I want to make sure it's real critical. What is x equals the square root of t? Well, it's a landscaper's map. Now, if I knew that, that's an AR-15-0-1, a boot camp. That's a land, and therefore how it's scaped could also be a bank or a business or a house. And those rules have to kind of figure out, how's it going today, some basic, greetings and so on and so forth about, well, that's the shiny on there without being any shiny. The numbers can play off all kinds of different, but you would know E2 to Gunny, like dead off on the hop because they would stand off with a 42, the mark of the beast tearing it up on the track down there because that one's going to make some problems in a positive way. And it's like, well, roster lines and timelines mathematically, he's going to hit x the square root of t. 42, that 42 on there being some kind of indicating value for sergeant numbers, 4-2, 4 pi, 2 pi, 8 pi, whatever.
Right? You're probably going to be a go. Right? It sets the tone and the stage for everything that's going to happen.
I don't need to be a guard. I don't need to have the millimeter.
Right?
I don't need to do those things. Of course,
drill,
when it comes to the
knocking
fight,
on the door, your
it's all
appearance,
about pre-log,
the way
not
that you
the biggest.
present yourself, including how you march and how you execute facing movements.
I make you learn
hand salute,
dentistry because you're going to spend a lot of time in there.
your bio, your reporting,
Get you real close,
creeds,
click.
your
Now,
current events,
not what I'm talking about
right?
here.
Your unit history and information. All the things that the CSM is on his list, right? That's probably all part of this 2-minute.
Well, there's
drill,
also
and
a
your
position
bio is
for
a
it.
key piece.
Opener is usually very common. You'd probably
You have
get
to
it
know
right.
this stuff, which means you have to rehearse it.
Rehearse it.
Now, odds are when you report
I'm
to
one of
your
the finest
prison board,
soldiers.
I was going to say
I don't
one of
know it
two
offhand.
things
I don't.
when it
It
gets
never
ready
was
for your
prevalent
bio.
to the
I
system,
was
so
going to say,
I
hey,
memorize
tell us your
it.
bio.
And you
Odds
get
are
some
that they may
stolen
not
valor
say
stuff.
that. It may say something like, hey, tell us a little something about
Bad
yourself.
trajectory,
Or
common
even,
odds.
hey, tell me something about yourself that we don't already know. Right? That is the cue for you to hit the
Q25.
bio button
That's
in your brain housing.
terminal.
Right?
That's 9.8 meters per second to
Q,
that
bam,
pace.
go.
You know, so it's like, is that though? He's gonna hit me with
When you
that
say your
radio,
bio,
that
like you mean it.
logistics
It tells
terminal.
us
It's like, well, there's
that
still a
you're
manager
confident.
in there. Is that something we need
If
right
you
now?
start
You
your
should have
bio,
done some
like,
research on that before you got
Good
here,
morning,
because
Sergeant Major.
you shouldn't be told to
I
do
am
everything. You got to do some critical free
Sergeant
thinking, and it's a
Schmuckatelli
big piece of
in
that
Hoor.
bios.
And that's how it comes
Broken
across.
English,
Like you're
complex
setting yourself up
conjugate,
for failure. Like right out of
mathematics.
the chute, right out of the gate.
Yeah, it takes a few years. I'm gonna tell
You've
you.
already lost your confidence.
I never
and
had a
we haven't
boss
even
tell me that. I had
gotten
to figure
the
it out on my
daggone
own.
board yet.
It's
But
usually
when you
why
start
it's
off kicking,
a little bit more dangerous from the Mason Society. Go on, Stoker.
it helps you do two things. It helps you gain our attention as board members. And it helps you maintain your confidence level moving through. Because, hey, if you get to a couple questions, you're like, First Sergeant, I do not know the answer to that question at this time. However, I would reference AR 600-20 for the answer. Like, okay, bam, you didn't lose your confidence saying that. If you got another, I don't know, like you didn't lose your confidence saying that. But if you already started off sweating because you can't get through your own
Yeah.
bio because you don't know you, which, by the way,
Come on.
nobody knows you
Oh my
better
goodness.
than you.
Foul.
If that's how you start, and then you hit an I don't know, like the sweat is gonna keep. You're gonna start
Stuff's gonna happen.
You
You're gonna
start
trip over
rolling the
pebbles
eyes
as a
like,
master, a
I don't know the
grandmaster, a
answer to that
PhD, an
right?
associate,
I
a
mean, come on.
bachelor.
We can do a lot better
The
than
terms, you know the ones. As soon as I said bachelor,
So
every
what I
one of
need you to do, odds are, with your board packet, you're submitting
math.
a bio. That's
What is the
probably
bio
written
of a
in the
bachelor?
third person,
What is the
right?
bio of an associate?
It probably says like Sergeant Schmuckatelli, and then it's written like that. But what I need you to do is I need
We tell
you to
time
write
here.
down your bio.
We don't need to know the two angles on the clock to make that determination
Make
for
a
us.
paragraph, like just a few sentences on who you are and where you're from.
Time to clean
Throw
up
in
before we
another
leave.
paragraph.
Yeah, we
about
might
your
catch it on the
military
back
service.
end, but if we're too choked out, that creates
Just
a pressure on
3-4
crew.
sentences
And
is it. And then another closing paragraph of your short-term goals, your long-term goals, and maybe a little bit about your family and your hobbies.
sometimes those things can be used
And that's
against
it.
you.
It doesn't have to be long.
I was
you should try
arrested
to
for
chop
pot,
it down to
have a
less
DUI,
than a
been
minute.
through drug and alcohol, seen the Delhi County system. Now, they seem like
Rehearse
bad
it.
things, don't they?
Sit down at the position of attention and rehearse your bio.
Nah.
Get it down
I learned.
verbatim.
Sharps. AR
Treat it like it's the
620.
creed.
That's where I learned. That's
say
how
it
I had to make that
Like your
differential.
dadgum mean it.
But I try to explain
You
that
do
to the
that
recruiter.
right, team.
Being
And
on
I'm
board.
telling you, you're going to smoke the board. You're going to crush it.
Mark Watney tell
Team, I
you something
appreciate all
about
you guys,
turn a
man.
house mouse
Leave me some
stoner
notes
into
and
a
comments
field
down
theory
below on your
expert with
experience with the board.
marijuana and how it
Seeing
does a dual
or hearing
diagnosis for
some
meth,
dadgum bios.
heroin
We'll
in your
keep this
system,
conversation rolling.
hydration formation, and the
As
test
always,
showing
man, I
up.
appreciate all you guys. Until then,
The
you stay
Masons,
out there,
brother.
you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
Catch you on the next one, brother.